Greetings, community. It's Kevin of NCBD Comics, and I'm here to bring you another edition of Kevin's most anticipated reads for 11/9/22. Hey, happy new comic book day. I hope you guys grabbed what you wanted, what you needed, what you desired, or what you're about to get, or what you're about to write down. In either case, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you watching this video. Now, today's list, it's not too bad. It really isn't. All considered, this is probably rather conservative list. Now, every single one of these things, I've been chomping on the bit to read. There's actually one that's coming out, I believe, tomorrow that I've been waiting for the past 2 months, which I'll mention right now. That is Mr. Ista. Mr. Ista, I believe, is finally coming out tomorrow. I can't say for certain, but that's what it's writing down on the list of releases. So I can only say, hey, as far as Kit Wallace is concerned, congratulations. I know I said this more than once, but it's about time that you've been able to release one under your own writing along with, in its entirety, art. Looking forward to jumping into that thing. Also over from Scout, we're going to go ahead and talk about Snow White, Zombie Apocalypse, issue 0. Now, going backwards, this is actually a follow-up to issue number 1. Try not to make sense. What this really is another follow-up. This stuff is pretty gory. Gory? However you want, it's pretty sick. And I like. So that's why it's on one of my most anticipated reads for tomorrow. That's Snow White, Zombie Apocalypse, issue 0. Moving over from Scout 2, boom. We're going to talk about Specs. Specs by David Boer. This is a read that I've been checking out. Every time David's been dropping little tidbits here and there, I've been trying to, piece together what the story's about. I'm liking not only the art, but I'm liking the direction and the idea behind the story, which is 2 kids order X-ray glasses, and what they receive is X-ray glasses that grant wishes. This is kind of wild. I love the fact that when you go ahead and receive something that you desire or do not anticipate, and go ahead and, well, push it to a place you're not supposed to, you end up receiving the rewards of karma. These stories I dig, because they tend to be little aspects of philosophy along with, something very sci-fi or just out there in the, realm of just what the hell. And I not only like the idea behind these be careful what you wish for style stories, but I like how individuals tell them. So I'm looking forward to David Boer's version. That's why Specs, issue number 1, is on one of my most anticipated reads for tomorrow, 11/9/22. Moving over from Boom, we go to DC. Now, I know we all been reliving this whole 30-year stuff that's been popping out from Marvel, DC, now Image, back to DC, which leads me into the segue of Wildcats, issue number 1. I know I've been beating around the bush about talking about this, but now I picked up issue 101, I believe, from Batman, which was a introduction to Grifter, which is one of the main characters in the Wildcat storyline. Wildcats is a ragtag team brought together of misfits, of individuals that were kind of expendable, but there were also elitists in their group. This is a story that was originally told, if I recall, and drawn by Jim Lee. I can't remember if he also wrote the story, but what I'm getting at is the covert action team. I can't remember what they're called, specialists, I guess, which is the Cats version of Wildcats. They were gnarly, and I dug them in the original Image universe storyline. To me, it was a little short-lived, and it didn't seem like they thought it all the way down at the back end as far as the storyline. The fact that they're bringing it back into the DC universe with an introduction of Batman and 101, showing how they're going to go ahead and bring Grifter and the rest of the team into the DC universe and introduce them to the rest of the characters, and I think fully integrate this team into the universe. I'm not a huge DC fan as far as all the titles are out there, because most of them were just Batman or Joker or Batman Joker duo. I'm complaining. I'm just saying that's, if you're not hardcore into that, you don't have much of a list. The fact that they're going and bringing things like, which I love, Monkey Prince. Now, this Wildcats, this is me. Keep throwing the stuff, DC. I'll keep buying it. Moving out from Wildcats issue number 1 out of DC, we're going to cruise over to Dark Horse, over to Shock Shop issue 3. This anthology series is really cool. If you're digging the whole horror anthology thing that seems like every publisher is throwing at you right now, this is definitely for you. The whole creep show, shock shop style of telling, that's my style. I'm an old guy, but it originally came from a forum I used to listen to radio, and then they threw on TV, which you kind of got that feel from like Twilight Zone, Dark. What was that? Dark Side, and yeah, Tales from the Dark Side, and things of the sort. That's how these stories are told in Shock Shop. That's why I really dig these stories. So, moving out from Dark Horse, Shock Shop, issue number 3, which comes out tomorrow, we're going to cruise over to Black Caravan. Yeah, you're probably noticing a theme here. It's a lot of horror coming out tomorrow. It doesn't bother me. I'm just saying that we're not getting much more than a lot of horror. That will change up soon. However, let's talk about something I've been waiting for a while, which is Playthings. Playthings likes to talk a little bit about the psychology of life and how the individual is dealing with their own seemingly psychosis of and what's going on in this wild tale is just holy shit. It's a horror version of being trapped in a mini version of a carnival, live version of a carnival. You know what? I'm not going to try. What I'm going to basically say is the storytelling is great. In my opinion, the art is exquisite. The lines are so everywhere, and the palette is such a wonderful dark warmth to it. It's just wild. It really is. It's really difficult to describe. What I will say is it does get into the psyche of a lot of even seemingly the antagonists along with the protagonist and along it's just so much there, and it's so obscure for the individuals that really like some really kind of out there thinking uh, art and horror. Playthings is for you. Now, from what I'm reading, Playthings from Black Caravan, issue number 4 and 5 are supposed to come out tomorrow. If that's true, that's cool, because I believe that finishes out the whole run. Issue 1 through 5 was the miniseries. If it doesn't, well, I understand they've been having some shipping issues. Doesn't bother me. As long as I get issue number 4, which supposedly comes out tomorrow, I'm okay. It's why it's been on one of my most anticipated reads ever since issue number 1. Moving out from Black Caravan, cruising over to Dynamite. Now, I've made mention in the past that Dynamite's Garbage Pail Kids origins, Garbage Pail Kids versus Madballs, that these were not stories that would change your life. I'm sadly mistaken. If you're like me, grew up in the 80s, and this is a nostalgia that you just can't live without, yeah, this will change your life in a very pleasurable way. I have to admit, the issue number 1 was so much fun. I read it twice. So, Garbage Pail Kids Origins issue number 2, I so look forward to. I purposely did not read any synopsis on it. I have no idea what it's going to be about. That doesn't stop me from wanting to read this thing, like in a big bad way. So that's why it's on one of my top aspects of the most anticipated reads for tomorrow. Moving out from Dynamite, we're going to cruise over to Marvel. Now, Marvel, you hit it with 3. Seriously. Ghost Rider issue number 1 was okay. Number 2, I was like, okay, what's going on? And what the hell? Issue 3, I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting a grasp of what's going on. 4, I'm like, okay, I get it. 5 and 6, bringing in Wolverine into 7, and then having the race, and where we're landing at right now with issue 8. With the new character that they're introducing and what's going on, I believe it's Paris Percy writing this. If I'm mistaken, I apologize, but This is a Ghost Rider I love. This is a Ghost Rider I kind of grew up reading in the sense of this this embodies the spirit of vengeance, in my opinion. This is so well written. The art's awesome. I keep buying more than one cover because the freaking art's awesome on the covers too. Yeah, I can't say enough about it. Seriously, go this Ghost Rider series. If you're into Ghost Rider, this Ghost Rider series, yes, just yes. Moving out from Ghost Rider, we're going to cruise over to Spider-Man, a whole lot of Spider-Man. Spider-Man issue number 2. Dan Slott setting up this whole dark web thing, and it's pretty cool. I'm digging it. Moving out from over there, because I'm not going to spoil that, and I do want to move on. Amazing Spider-Man issue number 13. This has been an awesome run. I mean, Wells is really doing very well. I think a lot of people got burned out on the old run. Didn't seem like it was going anywhere. In my opinion, Spencer was doing all right. However, in my opinion, Wells is killing it. And what it's setting up right now for this introduction of Gold Goblin and how this all tying into it was, are you? Yes. So that's why, again, it's like up there on the top of, again, Amazing Spider-Man number 13 that comes out tomorrow. It's like, boom. But I have to admit, what broke it for me and what was an easy decision, relatively speaking, in comparison to everything else that I made mention, going over to Image Comics and hitting the blue light special. That's right. We're going to talk about, well, I think it's kind of obvious, right? Dark Ride. Dark Ride's ride was awesome. I mean, the introduction of these characters, the initial character that we see that ends up opening up, and his father too. Two other characters that we see later, well, definitely Boo, way late, but later into the story is awesome. I'm really intrigued with this hellish version of Walt Disney. Now beyond that, even the character that we end up seeing that ends up wanting to get a job there, and what end up we seeing happens to this individual, how this story is moving, it is a freaking ride. Dark Ride truly is an amusement park ride that you get to read. This is one of the most enjoyable reads that I've been able to get my hands on outside of something, let's say, like Garbage Pail Kids, which goes in a totally different direction. Dark Ride, issue number 2, I would only expect is going to carry on. Issue number 1 was just so well written. The pace, so direct, so simple that you can see that it's going to get rather complex down the road. The characters that they're slowly introducing and how these characters are being introduced and how these things are all culminating into what it looks like to be going to be a super enjoyable ride. So my opinion is if you haven't already grabbed issue number 1, when you go to find issue number 2 tomorrow, well, grab that issue number 1. It's going to help you out a lot. Strap in and go for the dark ride. And that's it for me. Entropy. Stay well.